Good morning. Good morning. Nice and cold out this morning. So I just want to show you some things about your service when it comes to power to your house. That's the transformer on the utility side. The top wire is high voltage. The bottom wire is their system neutral. The twisted wire with the black, that's your service wire to your house. That goes down the pipe, at least this is on my house. It goes down the pipe and it goes over to my well house to my meter can. From there it goes into that and then out of that, and it feeds my generator transfer switch panel. And that's on the inside of my well house. And from there it feeds the house. But we're not going to worry about all that. What I want to teach you about is whose property is whose when it comes to the utility and your own electrical. So in my scenario, from the transformer through that woven wire, it's got 3 wires in it and it's woven together. It goes down the pipe and it feeds my meter can, like I said. Up to the meter is the utility's property. So there's a pipe that comes up through my concrete here, feeds this meter power. I think it goes up and down and it connects into the jaws. That feeds that meter power. That is exactly why those green seals are on that to lock it, and I'm not supposed to get in there. I'm not supposed to cut those seals. I'm not supposed to get in there. That's also a smart meter nowadays. So the second you take that out of service, the utility knows, and they will come out and check to see why you have a power outage at your property. I've never done that, but I know that meter is a smart meter because that's what they're putting in these days. So the way this works is if you need to work on any of that, you have to get in contact with the utility and they'll schedule a day to come out and meet with you and plan that outage so you can work on whatever you need to work on. And they'll tell you what they're going to work on their side. Now, with that said, when you're developing a property and you want to get new power to your property, like in my case, the best way to do it is to do a remote meter. And that's where you have a freestanding meter on your property where the utility drops to it, feeds it, and then they are cut out of the picture. That's the cheapest way for you to put power to your property. As long as from that transformer on the pole, you're within 350 feet to that transformer. Anything over 350 feet, you need to ask your utility what you can do to get power on your property and keep it as cheap as possible. They should be able to help you. But if you're within 350 feet of where you want to be pulling power off that transformer, just do a remote meter and ask your utility for a spec sheet on how to build that according to their spec, and they will give you that. From there, from that meter on, once it hits that meter, whether you do a remote meter or on the building like I did, from there it's LNI, and it changes by state. But after that meter, you're held to LNI standards and codes. Whether it be residential or commercial, there's different codes. But from there, you just need to follow residential code. And your electrician will file a permit with the state and do all that for you, unless you're going to DIY. You need to check out DIY rules if you can work on your own electrical in your state. One other thing I'll explain while we're at this if you're having power issues, a lot of the times that woven wire from the transformer goes to your house. If you're having power issues in your home, here's a good example. You had to get a new dryer because your dryer burned up. And then 2 years from then, you had to get another dryer because that dryer burned up. Or maybe your TV keeps going out. You might be having a neutral problem on that woven wire. You might be having a hot leg problem on that woven wire. And what the utility can do is come out and they can test that wire to make sure that wire is good and that's not the source of your problems. And most utilities will come out and they'll do that test for free just to make sure they're providing you with good power. That's the first thing you want to do before you call an electrician because it's free. Call the utility, have them come out and test their wire. If there's a bad spot, they'll fix it for free because it's their job to provide you with power. That's what you're paying them for. I hope this helps. A lot of the times you'll have a house that's got flickering lights, maybe an older home. That wire needs to get changed out. And what you can do is you can put pressure on the utility to make sure they change that wire out and do new connections at the transformer and your house. A lot of the times it's not your house. It's just the feed to it that needs to get fixed up and changed because it's old. I've seen a lot of it in my career. That's what it is. There are many, many times that it is the house. It's not that wire. So don't be shocked if it's not. From there, you need to call your electrician. But just to brief up on what this video is about, it's explaining the difference between the customer side of this meter and the utility side of this meter. The utility side is their property. The other side is your property. Your responsibility, their responsibility. And typically at that meter is where that rule changes from their property to yours.